Genius Kids. Cultivating love for learning.
Lesson 10. Landforms of the Earth. Knowledge acquisition. There are differences in elevation and slope of various landforms both at the global level and the local level. The surface of the Earth is neither even nor regular. In other words, the surface of the Earth is varied. You can see different landforms. How do these landforms form? There is movement under the Earth's surface. The plates are driven by the heat of the layers below them. When these plates crash into each other, the different landforms that you see around you, the mountains, plateaus and other relief features are formed on the surface of the Earth. Have you ever thought why there are no mountains in Kolkata or no deserts in Delhi? Why does the Earth's surface differ from place to place? Just as there are movements within the Earth's interior, there are movements on the surface of the Earth too. All these movements or processes work together upon our Earth to create the different landforms or relief features that we see around us. These processes are of two types. Endogenic or internal processes such as earthquake and volcanoes, which act suddenly. Exogenic or external processes such as winds, rain, and ice, which act slowly. The landforms created by the internal processes are further modified by external processes. The external forces act in two ways, causing deposits, or the process of leaving a layer of material carried by rivers, ocean currents, and wind on rocks or soil, and erosion or the process of wearing down of the land surface by water ice and wind. A rock is formed when its sides are eroded or washed away by the action of rainwater. The sand dune is formed by the buildup or deposit of sand, which has been carried by the wind. The landforms on the Earth's surface are mainly classified into three types: mountains, plateaus, and plains. Mountains. The mountains are the most striking of all landforms. A mountain should have steep slopes, sharp edges, and a peak or peaks. Mountains rarely stand alone, they are generally found in a long chain or range. They form 20% of the land surface. Types of mountains. There are three types of mountains based on how they were formed. Fold mountains. Fold mountains are formed due to the collision of the Earth's tectonic plates. The land in between is pushed up due to pressure to form a fold mountain. It results in a wave-like formation. They are made of sedimentary rock layer. The upfold or anticline is the fold mountain. The downfold or syncline is the valley. Thus, two landforms are created here: fold mountains and valleys. The Himalayas are fold mountains that were formed when the Indian plate collided with the Eurasian plate. Dal Lake in Kashmir is a lake within the Himalayan range. The Aravalli Range in India and the Alps in Europe are fold mountains too. Do you know? The Aravallis in India and the Grampian Mountains in Scotland were formed much earlier and are called Old Fold Mountains. The Himalayas and the Alps were formed later. They are called Young Fold Mountains. Block mountains. Block mountains are formed when two plates pushing against each other causes pressure to build, resulting in a fracture. These fractures are commonly called faults. These result in displacement of the land surface. These cracks may break the crust of the Earth into blocks. When a block of land slips down or is thrown up, block mountains are formed. The uplifted section is called a host. These represent the block mountain. The cliff-like slope formed as a result is called a scarp or escarpment. The downthrown blocks are called rift valleys. The Vosges in France are block mountains. The downthrown block is covered by the river Rhine. Volcanic mountains. Volcanic mountains are cone-shaped mountains which are formed by volcanoes. Lava and gases are thrown up by a vent in the Earth's surface. This lava often solidifies and forms a mountain around the vent. The top of such a mountain often has a crater, a ball-shaped depression. Do you know how volcanoes are formed? When two plates push against each other, one plate may be forced under the other. In such a case, part of the forced plate may melt, creating magma. On finding a weak spot or crack on the Earth's surface, the magma pushes out through the vent. When two plates pull away from each other, they may also provide a vent for the molten magma to come out. Mount Fuji, the highest mountain in Japan, is an example of a volcanic mountain on the Earth's surface. Mauna Kea in Hawaii is another example of a volcanic mountain. It is the highest mountain in the world, from the bottom of the sea floor to its peak, about 10,000 meters. Why are mountains important? Mountains are important because they form an ecosystem wherever they occur. People depend on them for many reasons. The forests in the mountains provide timber and wood products for daily use. Mountains are also a source of minerals. These are centers of biodiversity where various kinds of plant and animals live together. Mountains attract tourists and, thus, provide jobs for lots of people and earn revenue. The Himalayan mountains act as a barrier and prevent the icy cold winds of the north from entering our country. So, this affects our climate and makes it warm. Many rivers like the Ganga originate in the mountains and are fed by the mountain glaciers. So they provide water around the year. Plateaus. A plateau is a broad and level stretch of land which rises abruptly from the adjoining areas. They are also called tablelands because plateaus are flat and without any relief. Nearly 45% of the land surface is covered by plateaus. Some plateaus such as the Tibetan Plateau extend over thousands of kilometers. Types of plateaus. There are three types of plateaus based on their formation. Intermontane plateaus. Intermontane plateaus are high plateaus surrounded by mountains. These are formed by the same tectonic process as folding. Over the years, the downfolds get filled with material brought down by rivers from the mountains, which gives the area a flat appearance. Examples include the Plateau of Tibet, which is the highest intermontane plateau in the world, and the Mexican Plateau in North America. Lava plateaus. Lava plateaus are formed by the lava that flows from the vents of volcanoes. However, there is no accumulation in this case, and the lava flows for hundreds of kilometers. However, the thickness of the flow may be up to hundreds of meters only. So, while the surface is flat, there are canyons and valleys. The Deccan Plateau in India was formed in a similar manner. The Columbia Plateau covers about 5 lakh square kilometers of the Earth's surface. It is a lava plateau with one of the largest accumulations of lava in the world. Crustal plateaus. Crustal plateaus are formed when the magma below the lithosphere pushes the crust on top but is unable to break through. As a result, the entire flat land surface above it is uplifted. This forms a crustal or continental plateau. The high plateaus of East Africa and Ethiopia were formed this way. Why are plateaus important? Plateaus are useful in many ways. Most plateaus are rich in mineral resources. The Chota Nagpur Plateau in India is rich in coal, mica, iron ore, and other minerals. Many plateau regions are suitable for cultivation. For example, the Deccan Plateau contains black soil, which is excellent for the cultivation of cotton. Waterfalls found on the steep slopes of plateaus attract tourists. The waterfalls on these plateaus are often used for hydroelectric power. A good example is the Jag Falls in India. Plains. The plains are low and relatively flat areas on the Earth's surface. These may extend from a few to thousands of kilometers, such as the Indo-Gangetic Plains of India. Plains cover one-third of the Earth's land surface and are found on every continent except Antarctica. These are formed by the depositional and erosional activities of external forces such as rivers and their tributaries. Types of plains. There are three types of plains. Tectonic plains. Tectonic plains are formed by internal forces causing uplift of sea coasts, such as the low-lying coastal plains of the Malabar coast along the western sea coast of India. Erosional plains. Erosional plains are formed when the action of rivers, glaciers, and wind erode higher levels of land for years to form flat plains. The interior plains of Canada have been downcut by erosion. Depositional plains. Depositional plains are formed by the accumulation of deposits. These are of many kinds. Alluvial plains are formed by the deposition of sediment by rivers, which accumulate over time, such as the Indo-Gangetic Plain. Till plains, found in North America and Europe, have been formed by glacial deposits of clay, sand, gravel, and boulders carried by ice. Wind action accumulates sand to form desert plains, such as the Sahara Desert. Why are plains important? Among all landforms, plains are most valuable to humans. That is why they have become densely populated and are the centers of industry, transportation, and business. River plains have also been the centers of ancient civilizations. This is because water, the basic need for living beings, is easily available in the plains. The level land helps in building houses, roads, and railways. The rivers too can be used for transportation. Fertile soil of plains are suitable for agriculture. Keywords: exogenic forces, external forces of erosion which act slowly on the surface of the earth. Endogenic forces, internal forces which act suddenly on the surface of the earth, such as volcanoes and earthquakes. Fault, fracture or break in the earth's crust. Host, elevated block of the earth's crust, flanked by faults on each side. Scarp, steep cliff-like slope. Let's revise. Continuous review. Internal and external processes constantly shape the Earth's surface. External forces work in two ways, causing erosion and deposition. The Earth's land surface is covered by three main types of landforms: mountains, plateaus, and plains. There are three main types of mountains: fold, block, and volcanic. Mountains provide valuable resources to humans, such as water, forests, minerals, and tourist spots. Plateaus are of three types: intermontane, lava, and crustal. Plateaus are important to us for their minerals and for the fertile land for cultivation. Plains are of three types: tectonic, erosional, and depositional. Plains are the most favorable of all landforms because of the availability of water and the level land.
Like, share, and subscribe.